So as part of our club's series, now we are with the IESE Partners Club. I mean, probably you've heard through the many people you've interacted with IESE that for us, it's not just the people that come to study at IESE, but also their families, and we always want to make them feel welcome. And as part of this, we want to make sure that all your questions get answered by actually the people that are coming with their partners. So I'm leaving the floor to Adrienne, who's currently the president of the IESE Partners Club, but also she's handing over to also the now new president of the club. So thank you very much for having the session for us, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Adrienne, you're in mute.
Sorry, I'm so bad at this. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this IESE Families and Partners Club webinar. My name is Adrienne. I'm from Canada, and I was the president of the club during this last year. I'm a 2021 partner, actually, so I'm going to be leaving this May, and I'm going to introduce you to your new club's president in a minute. So I just wanted to just to basically explain a little bit what the session is going to be about. So we're just going to show you a quick presentation presenting the main activities that the club is offering throughout the year. Then we're going to follow with a panel presentation just to give you a little bit more insight from current partners about what it is to be a partner at IESE and in Barcelona, so you can have more personal information. And then we're just going to open for Q&A, as I'm sure you already have a lot of questions. And I mean, we've all been there. We all know that transition to a new city or sometimes a new country is also very, it can be challenging. So we're going to be here to answer your question. So just to give you an overview of the Partners Club, basically it's a voluntarily run by its member club. It's a social club, and the goal is just to make sure that the partners and the families of IESE students, we can help them in their transition to Barcelona and to IESE. It's one of the biggest social club at IESE, also counting 180 members between both years. So it's quite vibrant and it's quite impressive. So I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to introduce you to Kirsty Bael. She has been nominated as a new club president recently, and she's going to work next year with an amazing. Sorry? Hello. Sorry. Yeah, so Kirsty is going to be your new president basically for next year with an amazing team, and I think it's really going to be great. They have a beautiful energy, so I'm going to let them continue with the presentation. So Kirsty, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. As she mentioned, my name is Kirsty Beal. I am from Chicago. My husband, Alex, and I moved here in September, and I joined the Partners Club, and I could not have made a better decision. So I'm really excited to share with you all everything that the club has to offer, everything that we're here to support you through your experiences in your transition and living in this beautiful city. I'd love to introduce my officers, and then they will also be on our panel later today to do a more deep introduction on what they're doing here in Barcelona. But Kate is our vice president, and Elise is all things parents and kids. So I'll share more about those sections later on in the presentation. If we could go to the next slide. So as Audrey and I both mentioned, the club is here for you to create as many opportunities as possible. Everything is voluntary, and you don't have to come to anything, but it's kind of like what you put into it, you get out of it. So one of the big things living in Barcelona, obviously it's an incredibly diverse, beautiful city, and we want to create more cultural opportunities for you to experience it to the fullest. So we do a lot of cultural activities around Barcelona and in the Catalonian region. And we also have a lot of events that we offer as a partners club. Different things that we've done in the past are maybe a bar of the month where we meet up and it's a chance for you all to network with one another. And then we also help connect you with a lot of the social clubs that ESA has also created from the student clubs. So some of them that I'm involved in, I listed here. So the wine club, the mental health and wellness club, the sailing club, and there are many, many more that we will list at the end of these slides, but they continue to grow. And I think that it's a really great opportunity to pick up new interests, or if there's an interest that you're coming to Barcelona with and want to be a part of and continue to engage with, this is also a great opportunity for you. Next slide. So as I mentioned, this whole Partners Club is all about building the community. We have such a great diverse group of people within the Partners Club, and so we really want to enhance that in all ways possible. We do a great job with that in some of the programs that we do year over year, one of them being the buddy system. So as a first year partner, you would be paired with a second year partner who has kind of lived and breathed what you're going through, the transition to a new city, getting your residency cards, finding, you know, your new home and getting settled. It's a great opportunity for you if you don't feel as comfortable sharing questions or experiences with the larger group. You have someone one-on-one to connect with. I've loved meeting with my buddy and getting more insight about living here in Barcelona as someone who wasn't previously in Spain before. And I continue to connect with her, and it gives me a great opportunity to build my network. And then we also do a language exchange. These are obviously all voluntary as well, but I joined the language exchange because I speak English and Spanish, but I'm wanting to practice my Spanish more. And of course, a lot of people come to ESA not speaking English or Spanish. We have a lot of people in the program that want to learn German or practice their French. And this language exchange gives you an opportunity to meet in an informal way with other partners to practice those languages that you want to build on. And I've really enjoyed getting together with my group. We do a coffee chat a couple of times a month and switch between English and Spanish, which is just a great way to practice and ask all the questions that you maybe wouldn't feel comfortable when you're talking to someone at a grocery store, or meeting someone for the first time, or even taking classes at a school here, which we also help connect you with. And then one of my favorite things that I've been a part of for the ESA Partners Club is skill sharing activities. So if you come to Barcelona and you have a really great skill that you want to share with others, or maybe you learn something after getting to Barcelona and it's a great opportunity for you to continue to build your network. I can give an example. I did the charcuterie workshops for about 8 different groups in the fall and winter time. I hosted people at my house, and I'd actually learned how to make charcuterie boards. It's basically just like a meat and cheese platter after coming to Barcelona, hosting people in our home, and I wanted to share that with others. So we had small groups come over to the house, and I taught people how to create their own meat and cheese platter. And it was a really fun way to get to know other people in the Partners Club that I wouldn't have before. And then we've also done other workshops like embroidery workshops. They don't always have to be a skill that, you know, is super intricate. One of the girls is Japanese in our Partners Club, and she's going to teach us how to do boiza in a couple of weeks. We've also done like Zoom calls. If that's something that you're interested in, always be thinking about those ideas, or just things that might pique your interest once you get here. Next slide. Thank you. And so obviously Barcelona is an absolutely incredible city pretty much year round, which I think is incredible, especially moving from Chicago, where we only got a few months of sunshine. So we try and engage outdoors as much as possible as well, especially with COVID restrictions. It's been great to be able to do hikes with the club. We do a lot of sporting activities. We've, you know, gone to see all of the really cool parks, you know, everything from something that Gaudi's done to maybe there's, you know, something that you walk by and you want to enjoy with other partners. We're always welcome to create a partner event out of those sorts of activities. And then we also connect you with the sporting clubs and platforms that ESA's students have created as well. So there's ones for running and cycling, and the Be Active group that does, you know, yoga every Saturday, sometimes on the beach if it's nice enough, or they do a HIIT class hosted at someone's place, like things like that you are interested in. Listed a couple more of those on this slide as well. But we've really just enjoyed trying to make the most out of getting sunshine and being outdoors, and connecting with one another. And this is another great opportunity to do that. Next slide. Oh, is that right? I think we missed one, Audrey, with the Parents Club. Okay, thank you. And then we'll jump to the next one after that. So as we mentioned, IESE is our parents and kids officer. I think it's really important that that parents have a safe space separate from the bigger club. Obviously, bringing a kid and a family to a new city is a whole different ballgame, and we want to make sure that you're supported in all of those things as well, whether it's finding a school for your child, finding a babysitter, maybe it's the safest place that you want to live in the city. We help connect you with all of that so you feel truly supported. And then we also help create a lot of activities that are family centric. So play dates in the park, maybe a picnic, going to see a children's museum, or we also create a lot of events that parents can attend with or without their child, but that they feel comfortable to ask those questions that are more specific to what you're experiencing here in Barcelona. And then a couple people asked Carmen to submit these questions. And so I thought that this would be a good chance to run through the doing good experiences. I think that to make a full holistic experience in a new city, it is really important to give back to the city, either with your time or your money. And so we also help create connections with local volunteer opportunities. IESE has a social action club that we can connect you to as well. And you're free to join all of those activities or come up with your own, which I think is really great. In previous years, we've had partners create bake sales for a local charity, be a part of a clothing drive, volunteer at a soup kitchen, things like that, that allow you to get more involved and be boots on the ground for your new city. So I really love that this is also a part of the Partners Club experience. And then, as mentioned, a lot of these activities, including ours, are social clubs at IESE. And so you as a partner or you as a student with a partner are welcome to join all of the social and sports clubs. And we would help connect you with those WhatsApp groups, but we also have the best connection for the leadership teams for those clubs. So some other ones that weren't mentioned on the call yet, Salsa Club, that's another one that I love and have really enjoyed. The wine club, we have a sailing club, board games, pretty much any activity. If you think that you have an interest in it and you can get a couple people that would want to be a part of it, you're also welcome to create your own social club at IESE, which I think is a really awesome opportunity as a partner. And then we also have a ton of professional clubs. So as a student, you will likely hear about these on campus, but this is also an opportunity for your partners to get involved in a professional landscape as well, if they're interested. The Women in Business Club does some really great conferences throughout the year and talks that you as a partner or student can attend. We have a bunch of other ones listed here that are really wonderful and just create more opportunities for you to get connected in a professional network as well. And then if you have any questions about joining either of these clubs, or if there's a question about if one club is professional or not, we can help you connect and answer those questions too. So here are some fun photos from the past calendar year. Even with COVID restrictions, we still try to get it together as much as possible. I really loved all the cooking classes. You can see some of the pictures here from those, a lot of the park activities that we've had, a lot of themed activities, walks, things to just get you as acclimated and grounded as possible in your new city. And then lastly, we also have this incredible opportunity that IESE has partnered with us in the Partners Club. They provided us this academic program, which is really, really nice. So it gives you a lot of professional experience. A lot of the sessions are around like case studies, or it gives you like a lot of insight what our partners are experiencing on campus. I've really loved that because I've also gotten to connect with a lot of other partners and as well as campus professors through those Zoom calls throughout the year. And it also helps you grow on a personal level. Obviously, you're probably going to be going through a lot of transitions, whether you were working in your home country and you're now coming here to pivot in your career, much like your partner. It gives you an opportunity to learn from others' experiences, ask those questions early, and feel truly supported about your complete new cultural and social landscape here in Barcelona. So throughout the year, we have many forms of communication with the Partners Club. The WhatsApp channel is one that's connected with you on a daily basis. You're welcome to post there as a partner, not just the officer team shares within that platform. We also have a MailChimp that we send out on at least a quarterly basis that highlights new events. Maybe we have a survey to get new interests about things coming up and to get feedback from the current Partners Club on what you would like to see from us. That one goes out pretty regularly as well. And then we're also on Instagram. If you'd like to follow us, it's at ESA Partners Club. We update those as well with like more photos and to get people interested about things that we have coming up on the calendar. And then lastly, we also have a survival guide, which is this 45-page document, absolutely incredible. It has saved my life so many times here in Barcelona. Likely a lot of the questions that you will have once you get here and are maybe having as you make the transition to a new city are answered in that deck. But of course, we're here to talk to you one-on-one to answer your questions in a more personal fashion. And that is it for the presentation part of today's session. I'm really excited to introduce you guys to our panelists for today. Brittany is a second-year partner. She was the parents officer for this year. We also have Felipe. He is from Colombia. He is working part-time for a firm in Colombia as well as at ESA. So welcome, Felipe. Kate is our vice president and truly doing so much here in Barcelona. I can't wait for her to tell you more about her story, what brought her here, and what she's working on. And then Elise is our Parents Club officer for this year. She is actually calling in from the US right now, bright and early. So thank you so much for joining us today, Elise. And each one of the panelists will introduce themselves and give a short bio on what they're doing here, share a little bit about their experience with the Partners Club and here in Barcelona. And then we'll have a Q&A that is open for discussion if there was anything that wasn't addressed in the presentation or this panel discussion now. So Brittany, I'll let you kick it off. Thanks so much.
Hi guys, yeah, so as Christy introduced me, I'm Brittany Whalen. I'm a second-year partner here at ESA. Me and my husband Philip moved here in August of 2019 with, at that time, was our 11-month-old son and our dog. Before we moved, I was an educator in my hometown, and actually before we moved, I had never lived anywhere but my hometown, which was about a third of the size of Barcelona. So it was definitely a big adjustment when we moved here. Since then, we have welcomed our second child. She is 4 months old currently. And the Partners Club has been an absolute lifesaver for us since we've moved here. We've made phenomenal connections, made tons of new friends. We've been able to see the city in ways that I don't think we would have been able to see just having moved here without the resource of the Partners Club. So, you know, Barcelona is actually a very family-friendly place, and we have enjoyed our time here. And I think that the Partners Club has allowed us to enjoy it even more. It's been such a supportive and wonderful resource. Like Christy said, they provide you with a survival guide, which is, again, like an absolute lifesaver. Anytime you have a question, you can really like go and reference it. I remember when we found out we were expecting, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea who, you know, where I'm going to go, what doctor, anything like that. And, you know, all I had to do was hop onto the survival guide and be able to kind of like look through the parents and kids section, and was able to find everything that I needed, any resources. Same with like the insurance stuff that you can get through the school. Super big lifesaver. And one of the reasons that we chose ESA and that we chose Barcelona was because of the Partners Club. It has really been such a wonderful resource, and really one of the huge deciding factors as to why we stayed here, because when we were moving with an 11-month-old son, and we knew that we wanted to grow our family as we lived here. And we knew that it would offer us all that we needed in terms of familial growth and where we were at our lives at that time. So, as of right now, we don't know where we're going to be next year. We're hoping that maybe we can stay in Barcelona, maybe that we'll stay in Europe, but we have been able to actually use and connect with people within the club to help learn about different areas and kind of help direct some of our decisions in a certain way or direction based on people's experiences of living in other places and stuff. So the club as a whole is just a wonderful resource. You get to know a lot of people. You get to experience a lot of Barcelona in very different ways. I personally think it's a phenomenal thing. If you guys have any questions, post the panel about anything parent related, school related, child related, anything like that. Feel free to reach out and I can answer those questions for you.
Great, thank you so much, Brittany. Felipe?
Yeah, thank you, Christy. So hi, everyone. My name is Felipe. I'm originally from Colombia, but I also have the Spanish citizenship, which is actually useful in terms of all the paperwork and everything. So that's definitely useful, but I'm consider myself much more Colombian in my roots. We moved earlier, late last year with Alex, my partner. She's a first-year student, and I've been working for my firm from Colombia. So we decided that thanks to the pandemic, it would be possible to continue virtually. So that's been super nice for me to keep working with them because I really appreciate my work, and it was going to be difficult for me to make the decision of moving abroad with my partner and leaving my job. So that's something of a silver lining from the pandemic, I would say. And I was also very fortunate to find another job here in Spain. So I arranged to continue with my employer from Colombia part-time and started working with IESE. So I'm actually been working as a research assistant from one of the leadership professors that you will probably know in the fall term. And it's been a fantastic experience in general, which is pretty much learning a lot about it. And hopefully it will put me in a direction in a career where I want to focus, which is in the academia. And yeah, I would want to say that the commitment that the partners show to move abroad and the commitment that partners show to support their other partners doing the MBA experience is incredible. So it's very important for our partners that we support them in this important step that they're making. And we'll also be supporting them a lot in terms of, I would say, grounding them in reality in many ways, because of course the MBA experience is very intense, very powerful, but at the end of the day, there is more to life than the MBA. So we play a really pivotal role in that process and supporting them. So that's definitely a sign of commitment, and I want to recognize that to all the partners that have made that decision of supporting their partners as well in this journey. And yeah, it's definitely going to be super important that you also manage to make your own friends, to manage to create your own life besides the MBA. So you leave a little bit of the bubble that your partner is experiencing, because at the end of the day, you will face some days where you are just hearing about the MBA and you want to hear about something else. So that's definitely going to be important that you find your own friends and you do whatever you want to do, despite of the sacrifices that you have made for supporting your partner in this process. So yeah, as Brittany, as Christian, as the other partners will say, yeah, yes, it's like a family. So feel free to reach out to anything, and hopefully we can meet each other in person and support each other, because at the end of the day, it's going to be tough in some moments and it's going to be stressful. So we just have to stick together and provide support when we need it. So yeah, happy to join you in this panel and wish you all the best in this decision that you're making and in the journey ahead. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Felipe. Those are some great points. Next, we have Kate.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Humphrey and I'm from the UK. My partner is actually German, and so for us, coming to IESE was a very last minute decision. I think we decided in the July that my partner was going to do the MBA and we moved in August. So yeah, it was quite last minute for us. In terms of me and what I'm doing now, so I was actually a head of supply chain management at a large aerospace corporation before we came to Barcelona, and I chose to leave my job and pursue new career opportunities whilst I was here and use this time to change my career as well. So since we've been here, I used the first few months to work a bit on myself and what I wanted to do next with my career, and I also learned Spanish. So I didn't speak any Spanish before I moved here. So I did intensive Spanish courses as well as continuing with learning German, which is really important for family. And then I've also been doing some courses in entrepreneurship, and I've also now started a MBA course, a different one to the IESE one, more focused just purely on entrepreneurship, but I'm doing that in parallel, and now working on my own business idea and getting that set up and launched. So yeah, I think my experience probably has been different to some of the other partners, because certainly moving here was last minute, and so I was here already before I'd planned what I was actually going to do with my time here. But the Partners Club has been an absolutely fantastic support for me and for us both in that process, whether it's been things like the residency documents or information on doctors and where to go to for healthcare, or even just tips, you know, in terms of things that are coming up in the city, events or free openings of museums or different parks, etc. And I've made some really wonderful connections and wonderful friends in the Partners Club. So I can't recommend it enough to you guys. It's been super helpful, and yeah, made this whole experience for us a lot easier. So yeah, looking forward to meeting you all when you get here in September. And yeah, good luck with the move, and just reach out to us if you've got any questions at all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kate. And last we have Elise.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So sorry. Hi, my name is Elise, and I am a first-year partner. And I came here with my husband and my little daughter, who is going to be 3 in April. And our backstory is we're military. So everything from 8 years on, I mean, we lived everywhere. We lived in California, we lived in Spain before, we've lived Mississippi, literally everywhere, Rhode Island. Anyway, so we're nomads and we were up for the challenge. We're like, let's do it. Let's move abroad. I'm from America. Forgot to say that. Yes, so our last tour was at the Pentagon. So we moved from Washington, D.C. in August. From there, we're just super excited for this experience thus far. So far, the Partners Club has been life-changing for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I mean, I came from my husband was a naval officer. I just followed him along everywhere, supported him and our military. So yeah, if anybody has questions moving from military to civilian life, please reach out. I can be a good resource for that, and my husband as well. Yeah, so also I wanted to touch, everybody did such a good job about touching on different points of their lives, and I just wanted to touch about the schooling here. My daughter is 2, and she is really amazing at Spanish already, and it's only been 6 months, so I highly recommend their educational system here for the youngins and up through the rest. So yeah, I can't wait to meet you all, and thank you so much for being here. See you next year, hopefully.
Thank you so much to our panelists. So we are now going to open it to Q&A. If anyone wants to come off mute, or you can put a question into the chat, we're happy to answer those live for you all. If there's anything that we didn't touch on that you have a curiosity about. While we wait for questions, I think it's really important. I think, thank you so much for the panelists for touching on this, especially Felipe, but I think it is super important for you guys to realize that if you have a partner coming to IESE, if you're a partner on this call, your life is going to change immensely. It's not just your student partner that's in class all day, but I think it is really important to call out that our Partners Club is so diverse and robust that we really do create for you making that transition as well. For me, I know it was really important to find a school that had a very strong Partners Club, because I knew I was going to be leaving my job in corporate America to come over here and likely doing something completely different. And so I really, really enjoyed that the IESE Partners Club lived up to all of my expectations and more, where I could express myself fully here. I could find things that I wanted to get involved in. The officer team was something that I was really interested in doing for this year. And so I had that opportunity as well. So I think that that is just something to continue to think about as you're deciding on schools, or in the next couple of months, that you as a partner or as a student have just as many opportunities here in Barcelona through IESE, and then more broadly as well. So we're here to support you, and hopefully that we were able to touch on some of those amazing activities and opportunities that we do throughout the year for you.
I have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I was wondering with like kindergarten, so we will be moving abroad with, well, she'll be 3 years old then. I'm just wondering how that process is. How should we go about finding kindergartens? Currently, I've just been Googling a lot. Do you have any like directory for different kindergartens? And maybe if you could shed some light on how the process is of moving abroad with the child and enrolling them in a kindergarten.
So I can actually answer that for you. So when we moved, we introduced George into a small school. I believe it is age 3 on. Schooling is actually mandatory in Spain for the children. So a lot of Barcelona has a website that you can actually go to, and you can look at the different schools. Last year they did kind of like a panel such as this, where they went over admission process for expats and all sorts of different things. You can either join private or public. Each neighborhood has various different kinds of private kindergartens. So we looked at and ultimately ended up with a school in Sant Gervasi Sarria area called Peekaboo. It's a wonderful school, ages, I believe, 0 to 3. But they were also a private, because we had decided late and missed the deadline to apply for the public. But each neighborhood has different schools. You can search, I believe, for the schools by neighborhood, as well as reach out. There's a Facebook group called Barcelona Babies and Kids that is a wonderful resource as well for the different schools, different ages and different neighborhoods. And then one other point with that is there are multiple kinds. So if you were interested in Montessori, there's different schools for Montessori. In each neighborhood, there's different schools for English, French, German. The public schools here, they initially teach in Catalan, which is the regional language, and then they teach in Spanish and English, and I believe it's by age 11 they should know all 3. But as for searching for that, I can look up the website really quickly, which introduces the schools, and apologies, and I can add that to the chat really quickly if I can find it before the video's over. And then I believe the club also has a resource within the survival guide that talks about the different schools as well. That would be for, I believe, 0 all the way up.
Yeah, exactly. Like Brittany mentioned, so about kindergarten and schools for children, there's a huge section in the survival guide that covers all of these things. You have a lot of links as well to different kindergarten and school that were tried or used by previous families. So once you registered, so I'm just gonna go again quickly because we've received a question about the survival guide that we've been mentioning. So usually when you, as a student is admitted to IESE, the MBA office is gonna send you an email with a link for your partner to register to the Partners Club. It's a Google link. So when you receive this link, your partner can register to the club, filling out the link, and afterwards, when you officially, as a partner, register to the Partners Club, you will receive the survival guide. We're going to try to send out the survival guide for the people who already registered around this time. So February, March usually is around the time we are sending it out. So in the survival guide, you have a lot of information regarding kindergartens and school for children. I see also we have some questions in the chat about about partners getting a job here in Barcelona. So the straightforward answer for this question, we receive this question a lot. Basically, it depends if you are from Europe, the EU or not. If you're not from EU, it's actually very difficult to find a job. I'm going to be honest with you, in Barcelona, the job market for people that are not European or not Spanish is very saturated. It's very difficult if you don't have either sponsorship through a company, or if you don't have a special agreement with your own country. Some countries have special agreement with Spain to be able to work. But once again, it's very like one-on-one cases. You have to go to your embassy to ask questions regarding what are the possibilities for job in Barcelona if you're not from EU. It's actually quite challenging. Yes.
Just it's Kate, just to add to that, in terms of I think there's also a question about working in Barcelona if you don't speak Spanish, and depending on the situation with your visa and where you come from, whether you come from Europe or outside Europe, obviously beyond that challenge there is jobs in English. So as if you speak English, yeah, there's absolutely possibilities without needing to speak Spanish to be able to get work in Barcelona.
May I ask a question?
Of course, please go ahead.
Hi. Okay, so hi, my name is Yarden. I'm from Israel, and next year my fiance is going to start studying in IESE. And I wanted to ask about Corona in Barcelona right now. I know that in Israel, everything was closed until next week. Even going to another person's house wasn't allowed. And I was wondering, what is the situation in Barcelona? And also, how is it affecting your meetings and the partners meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I can answer that. So one thing I wanted to mention, I know we showed you during the PowerPoint presentation some pictures of the previous activities that were hosted at IESE. I just want to mention that these pictures were taken throughout the last 2 years. So some pictures were also taken last year. So I know there are some pictures, there's like 20 people. These pictures were not taken this year. This year, in terms of restriction, I mean, it has been like changing honestly every 2 weeks. So I mean, there are a couple of links that are in English that you can Google that are going to keep you updated about the COVID rules and about a lot of things in Barcelona. I can share that link on the chat in a minute. But basically right now the rules are that we have a curfew, we have restrictions within our municipality, I think, or the like area of Barcelona. We're not allowed to go out the municipality. We have gathering restrictions as well. I think the maximum now is still 6 people, and it has to be from maximum 2 different bubble. And compulsory wearing of a mask everywhere you go on the streets at all times, and the curfew is between 10 and 6, 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. So these are the current rules, but they change a lot. So I'm just going to post the link about the rules and COVID and stuff that you can keep yourself updated about that. And it's in English as well. So yeah.
And Adrian, I'm going to step in here as well. I saw a question on the chat about how COVID is affecting the daily life for families with young kids. So having 2 young kids, very familiar with this. We'd like to keep up on the rules and regulations. It's not compulsory for kids under a certain age to wear masks. We still go out to the park daily. We live a few blocks away from a park and we can just head there. Parks close at 8 p.m. still. The playgrounds close at 7. I believe kids are still going to school regularly. They're limiting exposure. The nursery that we had George in before we pulled him, before COVID hit, they sound like they have like 3 or 4 kids per class, per teacher. They're limiting exposure. Kids wear masks, teachers wear masks, things of that nature. But as for daily life, we do still kind of limit going out and what we do, but per our pediatrician, he has recommended, you know, you can still continue going to the store, you can still continue going to the park, you can still, you know, go out for hikes. There is a nice trail right up behind ESA. Some of it isn't stroller friendly, but if you have young kids and they can walk, it's still kind of nice to be able to get out. So as for daily life with young kids, it's still manageable. You can still get outside of your apartment. You won't be stuck inside all the time, pending that regulations don't change. So I hope that answers that. If you have any further questions with kids and COVID restrictions, feel free to ask.
Do you want me to go next? I can see there's a couple of questions about joining the clubs at ESA and also things like Spanish lessons. So in terms of, I think there was a question in the chat about Spanish lessons in Barcelona. So there's quite a few options. In terms of ESA, ESA does run a Spanish program for students, and it's also offered to the partners. Although there is a charge for partners to be a part of that program. So for example, I did the ESA Spanish program in August last year, just through August, and I know a number of the partners did do that. And that was really good in terms of learning Spanish. It was also a really good opportunity to connect with some of the students that were coming to ESA in September, and I know everyone that did that program progressed their Spanish, but also made connections with people they still know and are still friendly with here since they've moved to Barcelona. And then in Barcelona, there's a number of schools, language schools that you can use. So I can highly recommend my school, and there's some others that people have gone to with various courses. So you can do anything from an hour a day to 4 hours a day, or once a week, depending on your circumstances and how much time you want to commit to it. And there is also a school that is supported by the government, so you still pay for it, but at a lower charge. So if people have got specific questions on learning Spanish, by all means reach out to me. And then I think there was also some questions on joining the clubs, the ESA clubs. So partners are welcome to join all of the social clubs, and there's a couple of the professional clubs that partners can join. So for example, the Women in Business Club, which is a professional club partners can join. They have a conference, I think that's already been mentioned, that they run, and all the partners are welcome to join that. So it just depends on the club, which clubs you're looking to join, and the professional ones.
And then there's also a question about which neighborhood students live in. So that is also included in the survival guide. We don't make it super specific because even just on this call, we all live in different neighborhoods. You'll notice once you get to Barcelona, it's a very connected city. The transportation, public transportation is amazing. So my husband and I do not have a car or a moto, but several of the other couples do. And so they use that to get to class. We knew that we need to be close to a train line. So my husband Alex could get to IESE. So we specifically lived in the area that we are in just because we knew it was a little bit more connected to those train lines. But we will share that in that survival guide, that it shares a lot more about the intricacies of each neighborhood, and maybe some places are better for you if you have a family or if you need parking or something like that. We try to keep it open, but there is no specific area of Barcelona that people live in, and pretty much everywhere you can walk to, bike to, take a train to. So it's a very connected city. It does not feel as big as some of the other European cities that you might have visited.
Yeah, and to add
something. Go ahead, Brittany.
Thank you. And to add to that, in terms of living, so we also moved here. We sold our cars before we left, and we decided that we were going to live in Barcelona, moto free, car free, with children, and it's actually super easy to get around with kids. Every metro station should have an elevator, so you can access it with a stroller, and like Christy said, it's super walkable, super connected, and super easy to get around. And frankly, there are just parks all over the city. Some of them are smaller and they're kind of like interconnected within different blocks and things like that. So really, and like Christy said, the survival guide has a lot of information on that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna share my experience because we almost got scammed by someone who was trying to rent their apartment. So this is just to let you know that you should be really cautious and wary of potential scams of renting apartments while not being here, because I think it's very important to visit the apartment that you're going to rent or have someone close to you to visit it for yourself. So basically, this person put out the ad on Idealista, which is the most known website to rent apartments, and it was a really good bargain. We thought it might have been because of COVID that the prices were going down. So we reached out to that person, and it was a little bit sketchy at the beginning, but everything looked normal, and the person asked us to rent the apartment first on Airbnb, so that we tried the apartment first and get there and then sign the paperwork after we got here. But at the end of the day, the Airbnb website, which looked exactly like the Airbnb website, was created with a different setting. And basically, when you transfer the money through Airbnb, which is not Airbnb, in reality, you are just sending the money to who knows which bank account. So we really worry of scams in Barcelona in regards to renting. We realized that until the last minute, but we know some cases of students even who got scammed by these type of processes. So be very wary on that. And if anything, try to rent it through an agency. I think that's the safest. We try to save some money by renting it directly to someone, which is possible as well, but it's riskier in terms of getting a scam.
Definitely. And then Felipe, there's another question on here specific to your experiences as an assistant researcher at IESE. Can you share a little bit more about that job that you hold?
So I got very lucky because right before coming, I saw the ad post on the partners group, on WhatsApp group. I think Adrian posted it. It was from Professor Tobias Dennerlein. He's a professor in leadership here at IESE, and he had this opening, which is as a research assistant. It is a part-time job. It is about 40 hours per week, which is very easy to handle. And I mean, this is an opportunity that you can look into that, because the IESE school is very focused on research. So a lot of professors have their research assistants, which help them with literature reviews, with data analysis, with designing experiments. So if it is something that you like, or that you would like to know more about, it would be very interesting. And yeah, maybe that could be an opportunity if you are interested in a career in the academia, or even just to get an experience while being here. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And then Brittany, somebody asked about bringing a dog over here. Can you address those questions?
Yeah, so the process for us, we've had our dog for a little over 4 years now, and we brought her with us. We actually didn't bring her immediately when we first moved, and we had my mother bring her over shortly after we moved when she came to visit. But more or less what you need to do is you need to contact your veterinarian, and they will provide you with the paperwork that you need. Airline dependent, they will let you know how you need to contact your airline that you would plan to fly through as well, and they will give you the information on how early you need to register the dog and schedule the flight, et cetera, because it may not be on the same flight that you are on. So you may have to drop your dog off at the airport the same day, and they'll fly out the next day, or fly out a few hours later than you or before you, things like that. And the kennels will hold the dogs. There is no hold once you get to Spain. The dogs are just immediately released. So some countries, I believe, make the dogs do more or less like a quarantine at the kennel for a short period, but Spain is not one of those, at least from our experience coming from the US. Now, I don't know if it's different if you're coming from a different country, if they would hold your dog or your cat. We actually have an ESA pets group. So you can, if you decide to come to ESA and you are, bringing your pet, and you decide to bring your pet, you can join that group, and that's a wonderful resource as well for veterinarians around Barcelona. But your veterinarian where you're living currently will be able to tell you what paperwork they will need to fill out for you, if you need to have any updates on vaccines, etc., before you bring them to Spain. And then once you get here, you will need to register them, and then continue doing your, vet visits with your pet as usual.
Great, thank you so much. And then I see a question about someone who is coming here with their wife, and they are both students, and are they going to be able to participate in the club? It is truly definitely an option. I like we mentioned, it's everything that you put into it, you get out of it. So if you're coming here and you're wanting to get a lot more out of the academia part of the MBA, then maybe you are staying at campus longer and don't have as much free time to attend some of these events, but you will definitely have an opportunity and can totally enjoy the social and cultural clubs and activities that we provide as partners, and then also the clubs that ESA provides as well. So yes, it will be a little bit more overwhelming in your first year, of course, because the academics that you'll be going through are a little bit more rigorous, and your schedule is kind of made for you. And then you'll also be doing a lot of recruiting in the fall and into the winter of your first year. But my partner has been able to enjoy a lot of these social activities outside of school and in the midst of doing all of that at the same time. And then hopefully with, travel opening up in the future, you'll be able to add those things to your list of activities as well. But yes, definitely something that you can do as first years and as second years. Totally up to you about how much time and energy you want to put into it.
Thank you very much, Chris. Actually, I have one last question. What would be an advice for the incoming partners to ESM?
My best advice would be to just get involved as much as possible. Talk to your partner every night. I constantly ask my husband, like, what are other students doing? What, just stay as involved in the MBA as you can. And then I think that some feedback that the panelists shared as well is creating a life for yourself here too in Barcelona. It is not just about your partner getting an MBA and that's why you're living here. Obviously, that was probably the main driver for you in this experience, but there's so much that Barcelona has to offer, and as well as ESA for you and your personal and professional growth. I really loved the academic program because it helped direct what I wanted to do during this time, the 2 years that we're here and beyond, and to also hear from so many people that have lived and breathed it now in their own lives. I really just encourage you to engage with the Partners Club. If there's a social club that you're really interested in, if there's a new activity that you want to get involved in, do that and soak up every single second that you're here. Any other advice from the panelists? Yeah, go ahead, Audrey.
I'm looking through the chat. We still have a lot of questions regarding work and regarding being a research assistant or working at ESA. So I know a couple of people as well who didn't have working visa that were able to do some research with professor at ESA voluntarily, so without getting paid. It's also possible to be a research assistant if you do have a work visa, but just to mention that there are no ESA professor that are going to be able to sponsor or provide you with a working visa to be able to work at ESA, and they're not really going to assist you in terms of like getting a work visa as well. So the working visa is really on you to look through your own country with your own with the offices that you have in your own country for the visa applications. If you're not part of EU, yeah, so the working visa situation is really for you to take on before getting to Barcelona. Another person also asked if it was possible to work with the student visa of the students. It's not possible. So if you bring, for example, your wife or your family over, usually it's on a family reunion visa, and this visa doesn't allow you to work, even though if your student, if your partner that is the student is working or studying at ESE, it does not allow the partner to work at all. Just to mention that, yes. I see we also have a question. No, I think that's all. Any more questions? We do have another question here saying that like the first year students are more busy than the second year. So yes, this is true. So as a partner, I went through both years, and I can tell you that the first year, especially the first semester, is quite more challenging for the students at ESA. And it's true that the first year also their schedule is a bit more controlled by the school, so there's not a lot of options in terms of classes and things like that. So the first year is quite challenging, but it's not true that you don't have time to engage in social activities at all. I think in the first year you do have plenty of opportunity and time to engage in a lot of things, even though if it's really challenging. And the second year is a bit more modeled, so the students can choose a little bit more their own classes and their own path. So the schedule can be a bit more flexible in the second year, but it's not true that in the first year you don't have time to do anything at all. On the contrary.
I think there's also a question just come in about visiting partners, so partners that aren't relocating immediately but just visiting. So obviously at the moment with the COVID restrictions, that's slightly more difficult depending on where you're traveling from, but there is some partners or some couples here where the partner isn't living here permanently and is coming back and forth when possible with COVID restrictions. And in terms of being here, when that partner's here, they can absolutely get involved in everything that the other partners are a part of, and of course they can still participate in all the WhatsApp groups, the MailChimps, etc., even if they're not permanently here, so that they know about what's going on, any activities, and have also still got their forum to ask questions and ask for help. And there is things like co-sharing working spaces if your partners that are coming here and just visiting but wanting to work and can't work at home, for example. So there's lots of those spaces in Barcelona. I know of a partner recently that's just been visiting and using those spaces. So yeah, that's absolutely possible.
I've also seen some questions in terms of Spanish classes and language and stuff. Catalan speaking wise, there's a question about that. So it is totally feasible to navigate through the city with only Spanish. It's true that it's a bit, from my perspective, I was a bit maybe surprised by people are speaking very few English. So it is really important to try to speak a little bit of Spanish, but speaking Catalan is not mandatory at all. And regarding some Spanish classes and stuff, there was a question about the language exchange. So Kirsty mentioned earlier that the Partners Club was offering a language exchange. This is really on a volunteer basis through the members of the Partners Club. So we are pairing partners that want to learn a specific language and can learn and know another language. So we're pairing partners together for them to be able to have a conversation, but it's very informal. There are some classes, Spanish classes that are offered by IESE at the beginning of the year, usually in August or September. It's called BSP. So once again, when your partner, when the student is going to be admitted to IESE, they should receive the information about the BSP program, which is offered by IESE. It's not for free for partners. Partners have to pay for the BSP program, but I've done a BSP in 2019 when I arrived, and I thought it was a great resource offered by the school, and the money that it cost me was really well invested. I got a lot of very good Spanish classes hours through IESE at the beginning. Yeah, so this is just to differentiate the Spanish classes offered by IESE with BSP and the language exchange through the Partners Club are two different things.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I think we've hit the hour. So I hope so many of your questions have been answered. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you very much for the Partners Club for helping out. Just a quick note, for me, I have plenty of my classmates who are partners, and right now I feel that I talk more to the partners than to my classmates. So they actually do become part of your close relationships. So I hope this session has helped, and I hope you have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck to you all. Bye-bye.